In this video, we're going to cover the skill of multiplying 2 by 2 digit numbers, but this time using the standard algorithm. Standard algorithm is basically the way we talk in math. So this is how we would normally solve a multiplication problem. Not saying that partial products or area model are bad ways to solve a problem, but this is that standard way, the goal way that we should be solving 2 by 2 digit multiplication problems. The way that I like to remember the standard algorithm is by using this silly little code over here, many zoos, many animals. And the reason I do that is because each letter stands for a step. So the first M in many stands for multiply. And what that means is if you zoom in on my 8, I'm going to multiply that 8 by all of the top numbers. My next step, that Z, stands for 0. I'm moving over to the next place value. I'm going to start multiplying with that 2. And because that represents 20, the shortcut is to put a 0 on the second line. Then I can start multiplying with that 2, which is the next M step. So then I multiply that 2 by all of the top numbers. Finally, I add up the two numbers at the bottom down here to get my final answer. So let me show you this in action so that those steps actually make more sense. Step 1, I have to set up my problem. So just like we normally do, we stack our numbers with our place values lined up, and now we can start our 2 digit by 2 digit standard algorithm. My first step in many zoos, many animals, MZ, MA, is to multiply. I'm going to multiply the 9, the ones place number on the bottom line. I like to call this the star of the show. We're going to multiply that 9 by both the 3 and then the 4. So 9 times 3 is 27. So instead of writing 27 on this bottom line, I'm actually just going to keep the 7 and carry that 2 to the tens place. Then as I multiplied 9 times 3, now I'm going to multiply 9 by the other top number, 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36, and then I'm going to actually add on any numbers that I carried. So 36 plus 2 is 38. So I have now multiplied, I'm done with that first step, I've multiplied the star of the show 9 by all of the top numbers. Now I'm going to go on to step Z, which is 0. So I'm going to put a 0 to start this second line of my standard algorithm. Now I'm going to go to the next step, step M, and I'm going to multiply the 2, the bottom number, by all of the top numbers. I'm going to cross off that 9 and that tiny 2 because I'm done using those. Those dealt with the first star of the show. I'm on the second star of the show. Now I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, always going back and going to the ones place first. So 2 times 3 is 6, nothing to carry this time. And then 2 times 4 is 8. Next M, check. Finally, my last step is A, add. So with these two numbers, I'm simply just going to add those up to get my final answer of 1,247. You'll notice that this is a really similar way to partial products, but it is just that faster, more efficient way of getting to the final answer. Let's do another one. I have 64 times 37. I'm going to go ahead and stack that by place value. And then write off my MZMA steps as a helpful reminder. Remember, M stands for multiply, the 0 is for that Z, multiply again, and then finally add. For multiplying, I'm going to multiply that first star of the show, which is the bottom ones place number, so the 7. I'm going to multiply it by both 4 and 6. 7 times 4 is 28, so my 8 drops down and I carry my 2. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 is 44. I drop this one down because I have no more digits to carry that 4 to. So that one gets to just be dropped down. I have officially multiplied the 7 by all of the top numbers, so I'm done with that 7 and that little 2, and I'm done with the first M step. Next up, I have my Z step, which stands for 0. Because I'm shifting over to the 3, which stands for 30, I can go ahead and put my 0 on the bottom line as a shortcut. Now I'm on to my next M step, which is multiply, but this time I'm multiplying with the second star of the show, which in this case is my 3. Multiplying that 3 by all of the top numbers starting in the ones place, so 3 times 4 is 12, dropping down my 2, carrying my 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19, and I can just drop this one down because I have nowhere to carry that 1 to, no more digits on the top. My final step is to add. So I'm going to add up these two numbers down below my multiplication problem. And when I do that quickly, I can get my final answer of 2,368. Practicing one more time, but this time with a word problem. A library has 34 shelves, and each shelf can hold 52 books. How many books can the library hold in total? All right, so I'm going to be doing the problem 52 times 34. My first step in a 2 by 2 digit multiplication problem is to stack it. Reminding myself of MZMA off to the side to remember those steps. I'm going to start with multiplying. I'm going to multiply with that first star of the show, the ones place of the bottom digit, and I'm going to do 4 times all of the top numbers. So 4 times 2 and then 4 times 5. 4 times 2 is 8, nothing to carry over this time, and then 4 times 5 is 20, and I can just drop down that 20 because I have nowhere to carry the 2 to. There's no digits in the hundreds place here. I'm done with my M step. I've multiplied that 4 by all of the top numbers, so I'm done with that. Then I can do my 0 step of putting my 0 on the bottom line. Then I'm going to multiply the new star of the show, which is the other digit in the bottom number, my 3. I'm going to multiply it by all of the top numbers starting in the ones place. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15, dropping it down because there's nowhere to carry the 1 to. M, check. I've done the 3 with all of the top numbers. Final step is to add. And because it is a word problem, I do need to have a label. And this question is asking me how many books can the library hold in total. 1,768 books is my final answer.